Hey, what's up, folks? I'm David Spates. If you don't know who I am, you must not have a computer. What's up, folks? Another day, another motherfucking dollar. Oh, all right. Ooh, it's very, very lovely today in Southern California, y'all. Look, solar flares ain't even busting me out. Look at that. That ain't siren busting me out. What kind of mess is that? Let's roll. All right, I started off today. Pretty good time. Just seeing what he wanted to do. Just say, you saw that? Had a signal on and didn't even turn. See, that's what they do. They try to fake you out. This motherfucker, man. People just do not know how to drive. Most people don't use signals, and when they do use signals, they're using the wrong motherfucking way. Trying to fake you out, get into an accident. You saw that raggedy behind car. He ain't have no insurance. All this traffic equals no ace bueno. All right. Oh, what kind of truck is that? That must be a brook and highway chest. I don't even know what that is. That's a big motherfucking truck. I think Alpha Cat drives a truck like that to work. I don't even know why I said that. Today, we're talking about traps. Traps, that's right. Life is full of traps. And this came about because I haven't seen a trap this good in a while. Like, you know, I'm used to traps all the time. Well, Dave, what the fudge are you talking about? Okay, well, let me break it down. Quite a few of my friends, not most of them, I just said quite a few, have cheated on their significant others, whether in the past or, you know, present, whatever. And I mean the slickest of the slick, the bestest of the best. And every one of them that got caught, it wasn't worth it to them. You know, it wasn't worth the headache, the heartache, all that shit. All right, this is for the young boys. Here you go, ready? Boom. That's it. That's all you get. Motorcycle. Come here, come here. Let's see if we can touch his back tire without bumpers. I'm kidding, don't you do that shit. Get locked up. So anyway, every single last one of them has been caught. Sometimes they get caught in a month, sometimes they get caught in a year, sometimes they get caught 10 years later. But every single one of them motherfuckers has gotten caught. I'm talking the slickest of the slick, the bestest of the best. They all get caught. So fellas, ladies, number one, if you think you're gonna cheat and not get caught, chances are really stacked against you. Are you really that special? I'm just talking odds, folks. 100% got caught ratio. Dang, your friends ain't as slick as me. I'm telling you, the slickest of the motherfucking slick, the bestest of the motherfucking best. And that's why so many people get caught, because they're like, oh, it won't happen to me, I'm careful. It's human nature to fudge up, folks. It's human nature. Sooner or later, something's gonna happen that's gonna get you caught up, whether it's on your end or on somebody else's end, somebody else's fault. You're gonna get caught. Now, if you don't give a fudge about getting caught, hey, that's a whole nother story. But most of my friends actually loved the person they were with. They just fudged up. Most of them. Some of them were dogs, don't get me wrong. But most of them, they just slipped up. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, just because your man or woman cheats on you doesn't mean they don't love you. But like I said, in some cases, they really don't love your anus. They can't stand you, just to let you know. But a lot of times, people just, oh, why you just gonna stop? What the fudge? What the fly flip fudge motherfucker? Learn how to drive. Take away his license, police, police. What a motherfucking police when you need it. A lot of times dudes just slip up, you know? They get a little bit to drink, next thing you know, they having a cool conversation with some chick, and then bam, they butt naked in the bed with some titties laying on their face. It happens, it happens. Dave, if your man really loves you, he wouldn't do something like that. Ladies, I'm just being honest with you, okay? Not every man that cheats is a dog. Lots of them are, but not every man. I'm gonna tell you why this came up. I'm one of those people that kind of, you know, see other people mess up, and I learn from their mistakes. You know what I'm saying? I try not to repeat their mistakes. So I've seen a lot of dudes, you know, cheat and get caught in the past, and I've seen dudes so sorry they did, breaks your motherfucking heart. Love their woman to death, but they just slipped up, they fudged up. I've heard a lot of scenarios on how it's happened. That's why Dave don't really hang out at the club or whatever. You know, now that I'm married, I don't even fudge around with that shit, really. You don't see Dave at the strip joints, you know. My buddy's having a bachelor party, maybe, you know. I don't really go to strip clubs. Why? Because they're full of traps, folks. They're full of traps. Little things can get you caught up. Next thing you know, you butt naked in the bed with titties laying on your face. Same thing for you ladies. Your coworker want to have lunch. Oh, let's just have lunch. I got a man. We're just having lunch. That's all we having. Next thing you know, dude's paying you a little more attention than your man is because your man is working hard, working late. Next thing you know, you wake up in bed, butt naked, with a penis in your mouth. It happens. It happens, folks. I've seen it happen. Now, the reason I'm talking about this is because I recently was working on this production. In the production, I was working with a lot of beautiful women, which is nothing to me. I see beautiful women all the time. My wife is beautiful. I'm an actor, so I work with beautiful women all the time. You see my cock blocking videos, you see beautiful women in there. Beautiful women is not a strange thing for me. I don't see a beautiful woman and go, oh, beautiful women, boing. That don't happen for me. Don't get me wrong, I do recognize the beauty and appreciate it, but you know, I don't go all crazy. I'm cool with what I have at home and don't want to mess that up. But this is what happened, folks. Like everything else in life, there's always an exception to the rule. Now, from the age of about 16, I had in my mind the type of woman I wanted to marry. And I said to myself, I'm going to marry this kind of woman, you know. The hair's gotta be like so, skin's gotta be like so, titties gotta be like so, butts gotta be like so, all that stuff, legs, boom. It was all in my mind, and I said I would not settle for anything else. And I was dead serious, folks. I still dated all kinds of women. I'm international. But as far as the wifey, that's what she has to be. So I literally built the model of a woman in my head that I was going to marry. No matter how long it took to find her, that's what I was gonna marry. So years go by, next thing you know, I'm moving to LA. Lots of beautiful women in LA, lots of beautiful women in LA. Next thing you know, I run into Raina, who is now my wife. My wife, Raina, was nothing like the woman I pictured in my mind that I was gonna marry. I mean, besides the fact, you know, she was a woman, had titties and a booty. Besides that, she was nothing like the woman I had imagined in my mind that I was gonna marry. She was much more, she was better, and I never thought that could happen. But lo and behold, here we are still together, still married 12 years later. Life is always gonna throw you curveballs, surprises. Some of them bad, but some of them will be beautiful. Sometimes you think you know what you want, but if you keep on living, have more life experiences, you'll find that, hey, that's not the case, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. So anyway, blah, blah, blah. I'm working on this production last week. Working with a bunch of models, okay, you know, checking out the models, that kind of thing. And this one model walks in. And lo and be motherfudging whole, this one model was my fantasy wife. This heifer really existed. It was her to a T. My mouth just dropped and I had to close it before she turned around and saw me drooling. It was one of the weirdest motherfucking feelings I ever had in my life. And I was just like, oh my gosh, this woman is beautiful. Like, I don't trip like that, you know? We briefly talked business, blah, blah, blah. She was hired for the job, and then she left. So now the job she's hired for, we'll be around each other, but we don't necessarily directly have to interact. But I'll see her. So like I said, I'm a happily married man and do not wish at all to mess that up. And add to the fact, we're gonna call a model fantasy wife. Fantasy wife, we're only gonna see each other for, you know, maybe a week, if that. I don't even really need to be around her. I don't need to talk to her. I don't need to do anything. So fantasy wife leaves the room, and I just keep thinking, damn, she is beautiful, just like I had in my mind. Recognizing fantasy wife was beautiful, not a problem. Recognizing fantasy wife was your fantasy wife, still not a problem. But if there ever could be a problem, it would be with fantasy wife. So you know what, Dave? You gotta cut that shit off. Why? Because it could be a trap. A trap. Now mind you, fantasy wife don't know me from Adam. I take that back. Fantasy wife did know me. She did know me because she knew me from the videos. That's why she said hi and all that shit. So I know fantasy wife likes me, you know, as a person who makes her laugh or whatnot. I'm not saying she likes me anything more than that, but through life experiences, I know when traps can happen. And I'm not about to get caught up in a trap. So I gotta say to myself, hey Dave, you need to stay away from fantasy wife. So I did. I tried to avoid this woman by all means possible. I cannot read fantasy wife's mind, okay? She might not be thinking anything about me. All this shit could be in my head, which is fine, because it's not about her, it's about me not getting caught up in a trap, okay? So next thing you know, I see her the next day, and you know, I hug all the other models that know me. Ladies, if I know you, you get the hug. Fantasy wife sees me hug all the other models, so when she sees me, she comes for the hug too. And it was that awkward, like, ah, shit, because I don't want to touch her. I don't want to touch fantasy wife, folks. I don't want to touch fantasy wife. But then I would be motherfucking rude if I hug everybody else and don't hug her. So I returned the hug from Fantasy Wife. And when I hugged Fantasy Wife, she felt like a Fantasy Wife should. So right when that happened, I said, trap, Dave, trap. And I said, all right, you know what, Dave? You ain't falling for it. You gotta stay away from Fantasy Wife the whole time. So now, I have to go in defense mode, folks, okay? Why? Dave smell a trap. Like I said, this might all be in my mind, but Dave smells a trap. So now I gotta make Fantasy Wife the enemy in my mind. So now every time I see her, I'm just getting mad. I'm avoiding her, right? Every time she get near me, I'm just getting mad. Like, look at you with your fine self. You make me sick. Them beautiful long legs, big old titties. I can't stand you. So I'm really trying to stay away from her. I'm really copping an attitude for no motherfucking reason. Why? Because I don't want to get caught in a trap and mess my shit up. That's what you gotta do, folks. You gotta recognize, hey, man, I could have been like everybody else and be like, oh, it's okay. We're just friends. We're all working together. And things may have been fine. But on the other hand, what if things weren't? It just wasn't worth it. I'm only gonna see her for a week. Me not talking to somebody for 1 week is worth me not slipping up and messing up what I got back at home. So anyway, we finished up production, whatever. Next, we having an after party, right? We at the club, having a good time. Everybody's drinking, whatnot, except for me, I don't drink. Guess who rolls up on me? Yup, Fantasy Wife. And I'm like, okay, it's the last day, Dave. Everybody having a good time. You know she kind of feel like you've been ignoring her for some reason. They can feel that. It's just weird. I'm sure she was thinking, I didn't do anything to him. Is my breath stink or what? That wasn't the case, Fantasy Wife. I'm sorry. I just stay away from possible traps. Even though you might not have been thinking that, Fantasy Wife. So Fantasy Wife comes up. She starts talking. And my mind is in a totally different place. I'm having fun with my friends. So me and Fantasy Wife start talking. I'm like, Fantasy Wife is pretty cool. Fantasy Wife starts laughing. I'm like, she's got a beautiful smile. And then click, Dave, trap. It's a trap, Dave. So I said, okay, bye. And I just walked off just like that. And she kind of stood there like, okay, that was weird. Hey, that's the way it gotta be, folks. I'd rather have Fantasy Wife thinking I'm crazy and weird than to mess with what I got up at home. So basically what I'm trying to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, all right, look, do whatever you have to do to stay out of motherfucking trouble, to not mess up the good thing you have. Look, if you don't like the person you with, hey, fine, go for something different. But hey, if you're happy with what you have and you don't want to mess it up, do whatever you have to do to protect that relationship. Whatever. Because if you really love the person you with, trust me, it ain't worth it. That little 2.5 minutes of sex you're gonna have, it's not worth messing that up. It's not worth the heartache, the anguish, the pain, all that shit. It's not worth it. Trust me, I've seen it too many times. Hey folks, it's your boy. I'm just telling it to you straight. Anyway, I'm at work. I gotta get the fudge up out of here. I'm David Spates. If you didn't know who I was, now you know. Now get that camera out my face, sucker.